Last time, we talked about an outsider who enters the house and quietly takes it over. The cherry orchard is the same story, but on a larger and more political canvas. An estate, an orchard, and a family who cannot save what they love, and the man who buys it. Chekhov called it a comedy. Almost every production ignores that completely, and I think they are wrong. But first, let's quickly review the plot. Ranevskaya returns to her family estate in Russia after spending years abroad. The state is in debt. The orchard will be sold at auction unless someone acts. Lopakhin, a wealthy merchant whose family were once serfs in this very land, tells her exactly what to do. But she cannot bring herself to do it. She doesn't adapt. The orchard is sold and Lopakhin buys it. The family leaves and the trees are cut down before they are even out of the house. That is the plot. What the play is actually about is who history belongs to, and the answer is uncomfortable. Ranevskaya is one of the most complex female characters in the entire canon. She's warm, she's generous, genuinely lovingly, completely alive, and also utterly incapable of practical action. She feels everything, every moment, every loss, every beauty of the orchard she's about to lose. And she does nothing. Not because she's stupid. She's not stupid. It's but because action would require her to be present in a way that her whole psychology resists. She lives slightly outside the present moment. She's never quite here. Even when she is in the room, she's somewhere else. In the past, in the feeling of what that room was. And her brother Gaev is the same. He makes speeches, he talks about honor and history and what must be done. And then he goes and plays billiards. In plain language, they feel so completely that there's no energy left for the doing. Chekhov is not cruel about them, he loves them, and so does the audience, which makes watching them lose everything even more unbearable. And then we have Lopakhin. Lopakhin is the character I find the most fascinating in the whole of the play. His father was a serf on this estate. He himself was beaten here as a child by Ranevskaya's father, and he buys it. That single fact should make him a villain, but it does not, because Chekhov is too honest for that. Lopakhin genuinely loves Ranevskaya. He tries to save her, he tells her exactly what to do and begs her to do it, but she cannot. So he goes and do it instead, because he's a doer. And the moment he announces he has bought the orchard is one of the most complex moments in the whole of the play. He's triumphant and he's also devastated. He has won everything and lost something that he cannot name. Because the thing he wanted has cost him the people he loved. In plain language, his objective never wavered. He pursued it completely, and getting it doesn't feel like he thought it would. That's Chekhov's genius. He never lets anyone win cleanly. Now, the connection between Lopakhin and Natasha in The Three Sisters is not accidental. Both are outsiders, both have objectives that they never waver, both end up owning everything, while the people born into that privilege dissolve around them. But Chekhov draws them differently. Natasha is almost unsympathetic. Lopakhin, we genuinely understand him and we even root for him despite of ourselves. The difference is self-awareness. Lopakhin knows what he's doing and what it costs. Natasha doesn't. In plain language, again, clarity of purpose is the most powerful force in a room. But what you do with the win reveals who you actually are. I also have to mention Trofimov, because he is the character I find simultaneously the most irritating and the most recognizable. He makes beautiful speeches about the future of Russia, about work and progress and transformation, and yet he cannot finish his university degree. He's in full-on vision mode and he's allergic to action. He thinks about change, but he cannot produce it. I played him once at drama school, which is why probably I recognize him so clearly. But in plain language, he lives entirely in his head and in the future. He floats above the present reality and calls it philosophy. Chekhov gave him the most beautiful speeches in the play, no doubt. And that makes him slightly ridiculous. That combination is almost cruel in the accuracy. Right, The Cherry Orchard is Chekhov's last play. He died shortly after it premiered, and there's something in that that feels like a final reckoning. A man looking at the world clearly and saying, this is how it works. The people who feel deeply do not always survive. The people who act clearly do not always deserve to win, but sometimes they win. And history moves forward regardless. That's not pessimism, it's just honesty. And Chekhov's honesty is what makes him immortal. So The Cherry Orchard is not a play about losing an orchard. It is a play about a world changing underneath people who cannot change with it, who refuse to adapt. And the sound of that axe at the end of the play is not just trees falling, it's an entire way of life being cut down. Chekhov maps the quiet destruction of people who cannot act. Lorca, on the other hand, does something completely different. He takes desire and death and waves them so tightly together, you cannot tell where one ends and the other begins. So next we go to Blood Wedding, and it's nothing like anything we've discussed so far. So if that interests you, there's a lot more where this came from.